Hi.
I'm Hope.
I'm Jordan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Is it okay if I call you Jordan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I call you Dr. Hope?
No, you can just call me Hope.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
I'm glad you're here today. So I wanted to tell you a couple things before we get started.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I'm a student, so I'm working towards getting my license as a social worker. And I just wanted to let you know that. Second, I want to talk about confidentiality. Have you heard about that before?
Just a little bit. Can you tell me a little more?
Sure. So what that means is that everything we talk about stays between us, with two exceptions. The first is that because I'm a student, I have a supervisor, and we're going to look through the sessions for training purposes for me. So he or she will hear our sessions. And then the second exception is if I feel that what you have said makes either yourself or someone else in jeopardy, their safety, then I have to report that. I'm required to report that by law. Okay? So I just wanted to open this up. If you have any questions about me or about confidentiality or about this process, I just wanted to let you have the opportunity to ask me anything you needed to.
Okay. Have you been doing this a while?
I just recently started, but like I said, I'm in a training program. I've been in school for a while. This is, I'm new to the actual clinical process, but I'm getting training and, I'm working with a supervisor and I've been taking classes. So, what I'm hearing from you is you might be a little concerned that I'm not ready to handle clinical sessions. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
I trust you.
Right.
Just if it does arise that I'm not feeling 100% comfortable with continuing, would I be able to switch to?
Absolutely, and also bring that up to me. I mean, if you feel uncomfortable or you feel like there's something that's just not right for you, please let me know, and we can work something out. We can talk about it. Just feel free to let me know how you're feeling about everything. Okay. Okay. So, what brings you here today?
Family.
Okay. What about family?
I haven't been home in about 7 years. I'm 28 now. I left right after I turned 21, and I just made a big move to New York. I'm sure you can't really tell because I don't have the accent yet. I still talk a little Southern, but I want to go back home, but it won't be that easy. And my parents and I, before I left, we had this huge falling out about my move. They wouldn't listen to me, but I made the move anyway. I've lived thus far. I've been surviving. My place is not that nice, but I have a nice place that I can go to sleep in and take baths, do all the natural things. So I haven't really needed their help for anything. But I guess like within the past 3 years, they've become a little worried about me. At first, I didn't hear from them. They didn't hear from me. Then I started getting Christmas cards, and my mom incessantly calls me now. My dad, we still haven't talked, but we never really had that great of a relationship to begin with. But I'm just thinking I want to go back home, but it'll be a scary thing to just go. And I don't know if I should just call her back or just pop up, or where would we even begin after 7 years?
Right. So would you like to focus our session today on your transition back home, or what exactly do you want our session to be focused on?
I guess just my fear of being. I guess I'm fearful of going back home and not feeling like I belong there. So maybe the transition of going back home and what it would feel like being back at home.
Right. Okay. So from what you said before, it sounds like you're kind of pulled in several directions. There are a lot of pros and cons. So, you obviously left for a reason, and now you're thinking about going back. But it seems like you have some family issues that have been going on for a while. Does that sound right? Like with your dad and but your mom has kind of stayed connected with you.
Recently, we haven't reconnected, but she'll call me every so often, maybe like every 3 weeks or so. But I can't bring myself to answer the phone. My dad and I we have never really talked. He used to help me with homework, but I got the answer wrong. He just started fussing, and that just kind of built a wall between us, so we've never really had that connection.
It sounds like maybe your communication has always been a little stunted.
Mm-hmm.
You feel a little disconnected from him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's never posed a problem. Like, of course, we live in the same house, but as long as my mom's there, well, when I was there and my mom was there, if I needed anything, I could just ask her, and I never really had to ask him for anything. And I guess she's the reason why I'm even thinking about. I don't want to go back home permanently, but even to visit, I guess. I just miss her. I mean, she was there for me up until my 21st birthday. She was there for me for my 21st birthday. I guess her fear of me moving, but my persistence to get away from farm life just drove us apart.
So tell me more about that. So so it sounds like the farm has something to do with it. What led you to want to leave home? Like what sparked that in the first place?
I just never fit in. It was the three of us. It was my mom, my dad, and I. And my mom grew up on a farm. My dad grew up in the city, but I guess when they married, she persuaded him to do the farm thing. So we have this farm, cows, cattle, the whole shebang. But even though my dad and I don't connect, I feel like I have his drive for the city, the bustling, the hustle of the city, the loud noises, the zooming cars, the flashing, all of that. I just love it. And corn and chickens, they don't satisfy my drive to live life. I can't live life tilling dirt at 6:30 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night. I mean, and I'm not talking bad about what they do. That's not for me.
So you feel like you have some things in common with your dad, but his overall, farm motivation is not there for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now that we've been talking about it, the reason we might not get along or just might not have a connection is he might have that same drive that I do, but he's stuck on the farm.
Okay.
Because the falling out was more so with my mom and I. And it might be because I, in some way, offended her for not wanting to keep the family farm.
Okay. Have you talked to either of your parents about this, or was it just a sudden move?
I had been thinking about moving for a while, but I didn't tell them about it. I mean, at 21, I just didn't feel like I needed to talk to my parents about that much. So when one day I had the money to get on the plane, I had enough money saved up to last me a few months once I got to wherever I was going. I had my bags packed, walked downstairs, and it was time to go, and that's where the falling out came from.
So it was an abrupt change.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that it seems like it was kind of difficult for you. You're kind of looking down and you seem sad when you said that. So was it kind of an emotional?
It's
departure?
Emotional now.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I did everything too suddenly, but and I guess what I wanted was for them to support me, but now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of just dropped it on them instantly, out of nowhere. They woke up that morning drinking their coffee, and then all of a sudden I'm downstairs saying, hey, I'm leaving.
So it sounds like you might feel a little guilty about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you expecting when you go back home? What do you think it's going to be like? What do you think the reaction to you coming home would be?
I think my mom will be happy that I'm back home. but that guilt that I am kind of feeling now, how do I make up for 7 years? Not speaking at all for 7 years. And just kind of leaving out of nowhere and not even acknowledging their feelings of my departure. I'm hoping they would just. I like for things to have happened and people to just forget about it. Okay. So I'm hoping. Well, I'm not hoping. I'm thinking that when I get back down there, we're gonna do things like we've always done, and then we're gonna try to act like it never happened. And then, if I do, well, when I come back to New York, we might be talking then, or maybe we've all grown comfortable with not talking. I don't know.
Would that be the ideal situation for you? Would you want to just kind of not talk about it and get past it, or do you want to process those feelings? It seems like you feel a little guilty and you want to hear that they have accepted your move and support you now.
That's what I want.
Feeling? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they're gonna do this, but I'm nervous about them trying to get me to come back.
Okay.
I mean, I was the only child, unless they've had a child within 7 years, and I just don't know about it. And they're getting older. They're not frail yet, but after they're gone, no one will be able to take the farm. And I don't want a farm. If I get it, I'm just gonna sell it and sell everything on it. I think that might hurt them as well. So I'm hoping we can almost just forget about it, but I don't know where that would leave us.
But there are some things that you need to talk about before. Okay, so we're at the end of our session. So, but it seems like we have a lot that we need to talk about. We talked about your initial move and what caused that. We talked about how you're kind of trying to decide whether or not to go home, how you feel kind of guilty for leaving abruptly, and you feel this disconnect with you and your dad, but you also think you hurt your mom. So it sounds like there are a lot of dynamics here. Is there anything that we've missed that you want to focus on in our next session?
Now that we've acknowledged, because I didn't realize that it was guilt that was hanging over me. Maybe if I kind of just let this soak in for a while and think about this a little more, I'll know in next session where we can go from there.
Okay.
I just need to deal with this new feeling that I require.
Okay. So it kind of sounds like what might be helpful, and you can tell me what you think about this, is for you to see me weekly, and we can talk about these family issues building up until the time that you go back home. So kind of preparing you to go back home. Does that sound like what you're looking for in our sessions? Okay. So we'll get you set up for our next meeting, and think about what you want to talk about. And if you can't think of something, we can, anything that happened during the week, or if you have any more communication with your parents, then we can set some goals next week.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Thank you so much.
Okay, it was so nice to meet you.
Nice
Have a
to
great
meet you
week.
too. You as well.